Yo, what's going on, guys? Aiden Smith with the Paint Your Path podcast. We got a special guest today, the one and only, the DripJobs connoisseur, Tanner Mullen, in the house. What's going on, bro?
Man, vibing, man. Happy to be in person. This is different, seeing a human in person than doing a podcast.
Every podcast nowadays is like virtual, Zoom type, vibe.
Yeah.
Finally in person. This feels really good.
Yeah, dude, trying to change it up a bit. Feels good.
And we're in the DripJobs headquarters, guys. This is it, right? This is the studio. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me, Tanner. It's been a journey since we first met.
Yeah, you just popped up on my Instagram.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's crazy. He reached out and he was like, hey, bro, I think we have some synergies. Let's hop on a call, and it all went from there.
Yeah. I mean, I've always wanted to impact in the painting industry, and when you see somebody that you could tell is genuine and trying to help people, that was easy.
What I found out about Tanner is he is the master connector. That's how I like to describe him. He's like the master networker that is kind of an introvert in a way. Owns a software company, so that kind of comes with the territory.
I would agree with that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this guy has touched so many people's lives, right? When I talk to people about Tanner, it's just such positivity, and that's what you want, right? What other people say about you is the most important thing. Like, you can say whatever you want by yourself, but when other people say it, it's real.
Yeah, love hearing that. That's good.
Dude, we all appreciate you, man. Even in my group, it's like, it's cool, man.
Yeah.
Because people buy into the person, right? And like, when they follow you and see your stuff, I mean, it's inspiring. You do one-on-one coaching for absolutely free, which is awesome.
Yeah.
You've helped
some crazy breakthroughs have happened in those coaching in those coaching sessions for sure.
I'm sure.
People's I love seeing that light bulb go off, man.
Can you speak to one that was like jumped out the
Dude, people text me randomly. I've done so many of these things that like I just lose track of who I've done them for. If you don't know what I do, is like, my link is public. You could just book a time on my calendar and I'll sit there and I'll tell you what you need to hear for an hour.
That's awesome.
And I do this because, number one, I don't care about what you think.
Yeah.
Number two, no one's going to tell you what you need to hear in your circle. And number three, you can't put a value on my advice, right? So in other words, like, we take the money component out of it. So now it's just unfiltered advice. I have nothing in the game aside from recording it. And then you have nothing in the game aside from showing up. And it's like this honest, transparent interaction that happens where, like, very rarely do you get someone that just tells you what you need to hear. So for me, man, those are the best. And then every now and again, I'll get somebody text me and say, hey man, like, I just want to thank you for that coaching session. What I find the most impactful ones is helping people navigate how to deal with certain people and certain personality types, because that, like, the relationship part of business is the hardest. So like, I can tell you, hey man, you got to know your numbers. You got to, why aren't you job costing? Why aren't you using production rates? And it's like, dude, the most impactful ones are, it's like, I have this guy that's been painting with me for 5 years and I'm trying to create SOPs now, and he's not listening and he doesn't want to buy into that and he doesn't care and he just wants to do his own thing. And it's obvious that, like, there's a connection there. There's two reasons. Number one, it's usually financial, right? He's probably your best guy. You don't want to lose that production, but it also calls on you to be a decision maker, to be a leader, to say, hey, what am I prioritizing here? Growth or money? So man, helping people learn how to make decisions like that in business has always been a passion.
That's huge. And you come with so much experience, right, in different types of businesses as well.
Yeah.
It's super important, right, to get other perspectives, because you can take, the software background and other businesses you've been in and now use that perspective to help guys that are blue collar trade.
Yeah, bring it back home for sure. Yeah.
There's, like you said, there's no amount of money you could put on a vice like that. And I want to kind of touch on a little bit of what you just mentioned, right? Your calendar, right? That's huge.
Yeah.
So you run 2, 3, I don't know how many at this point.
Three, two multi, and then one on the way.
2 multi-million-dollar business and one that's going to be, I'm sure, shortly. Talk to me about what that looks like. What does your day-to-day, and how do you conquer 2 jobs?
Yeah, it's interesting, man. Like the painting business, we talked about it, but I'll kind of recap. It's a very lean model. I put a lot of trust in the hands of my guys. I have what's called review insurance, where every team member on my team gets a $50 bonus if their customer leaves a review. It doesn't matter, $50. I started off at 25, and then I kicked it up to 50 during the holidays. And I felt bad about bringing it back down because they were motivated. I'm like, let me just keep it at 50. So I'm cutting at least $2K a month in reviews.
Wow.
but it creates an element of accountability. It's my favorite bonus structure, which means you just kind of want to make sure your bonus structure is random, but it's achievable. You don't want a systematic bonus structure because it could be manipulated. But for me, it's just like a little extra insurance to make sure the customers are being taken care of on another level. That's one, making sure that the jobs are going well. So the premium painting runs real efficient. You got the estimator model. Told you we got someone helping us out in the Philippines, building out the proposals. So, for me, I'm kind of hands off there. So that's easy. DripJobs, on the other hand, my superpower in DripJobs is not doing demos. That's been delegated. It's not coding, right? I'll get to that in a second. And it's not, customer success. But I did all of those roles when I first started DripJobs. When I first started DripJobs, I did the demos. I did the trainings. I built the help articles. I was on the help desk. Some people maybe listening to this have had me send them messages at 1 o'clock when that thing wasn't working, right? So for me, it's like, I'm a big proponent of, if you own a restaurant, you better know how to cook. Yeah. So I learned how to cook. Now at this stage of the game, DripJobs is growing. We have a pretty good model where, we just try to create a great product and people stick around. Software's different. So you're really focused on the product. The better the product, the better the business. Sure. At this stage, for me, like my focus right now is I'm coding all day, almost every day right now with AI. Now I'm able to actually, because before I would have an idea and dude, I'd have to go through a ton of walls to get there. So now with AI, man, like my focus, this is my passion, dude. I am in the building things. Like, so any of you DripJobs users out there, if you're using DJ Academy, I coded that thing from start to finish. So that whole course area was built by me, launched by me, and then put into DripJobs. And that's just the beginning. So I'm having fun, more fun than I've ever had as a software business owner building, which is my passion.
Wow. One time, old mentor of mine said that business comes in seasons. Sounds like you're in the seasons of coding.
Right? Yeah, I like the season, man. Yeah, I love it. With AI, dude, it's awesome.
You got to grind for a little bit, right? There are certain times where it hits you harder and you're making, tough decisions. But I agree that, it's seasons, right? You're setting it up because you know what the next step looks like, or you're trying to figure out what that next step is. Yeah. And you're just in there. Yeah. Right? And you're making it happen. And I mean, ever since we hopped on and we partnered with you guys for our coaching group, it's been nothing but just constant improvements, hey, what can we do to improve? How can we get better? So we've been very appreciative of that. And, even kind of being in the loop of those things is really important, right? Like, you'll come to me and say, hey, like, what do you think? That's important. Right?
Yeah. Because you have a different perspective, man. You're in it.
When you have guys that have different skills, right, they can bring that to the table, and you're not stubborn enough to say, oh, well, I'm close to that idea, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, it's constant improvement. Dude, the pressure is insane. Like, I think ever since I was a kid, dude, like, I've always had pressure. So if I don't feel pressure, I almost feel like something's wrong, right? So, like, I have 2,100 businesses that depend on our ability to innovate, right? So, in other words, like, the way I look at it is there's 2,100 businesses that joined our team. And I want to beat anyone else that decided not to join our team, right? So like we're a coalition, dude. I want to give them the best tools. They're going to have the best software. It takes time, man. Like software is like a very delicate game. Like it has to be done the right way. But I'm living in the future, dude. We have so many amazing things that once they get released into the market, instant game changer for that business because they were on our team. And I know how serious it is. I don't take a day off, dude. 7 days a week. Although yes, like I'm with my family and stuff. Most of our work is most of my work is thinking time. It's not, there's no shut off valve, dude. I could just, I could be jogging, man. I'm thinking that's the feature that's going to change the game for our users. That idea needs to be brought to life. That tweak here, that change here, like it's never ending. And that's just simply because I want to create the best product that's ever been in the market.
What do you think instilled that in you? I mean, one of the topics I had written down for this was, what's the difference between guys that stay stagnant in their business, no matter what the business is, and guys that grow? And obviously you've seen tremendous growth, right, and changes. What fire is lit in Tanner for you to be able to do these things at this scale and have so much success with it?
Honestly, man, like it was never supposed to happen. I wasn't handed anything. I had an idea. I went all in. I put all the chips on the table and came out on the other side through the storm. And it's like when you earned it, you won't let it go. This is it. This is what affords me the lifestyle to spend time with my kids. I can go to any doctor appointment. I can go to any practice. I went to 90% of my daughter's swim practices to learn how to swim, right? These aren't meets. This is just, hey, random Tuesday, 3 o'clock, my dad was there, and I go in and swim with her afterwards, right? Like, so, I mean, these things are precious. So when you have something that you've built, and this goes for painting businesses, this goes for anything. It's like, it doesn't matter what it is. I'm going to protect it, dude. I'm going to stand guard on it. And the moment you don't is the moment things start to decay. So you just got to understand that in any case, like, business is growing or dying. If at any point in time, I think that DripJobs has made it, someone else is coming, dude. Yeah. You know, Jobber, House Call Pro, who else is out there? You know, Paint Scout. Well, not them in the category that I'm putting them in. I'm talking about like $100 million funded companies that have board of directors, that have so many decision makers, that have unlimited resources. They're putting ads on the TV. I think Jobber might have a Super Bowl commercial, but people switch from Jobber to us. And why is that? It's because of the innovation. It's because I don't have to go through checks and balances to get things done. It's because I care, you know. And it's also, dude, I think this is kind of something that I'm proud of, is that I'm the customer. So like, I see it first. I experience it first. I can test things on my own customers before I have you test them on your customers. I live the life of a contractor, and you know, part of me believes that might be that competitive edge.
Yeah, and I love that you said that, right? You lived the life of a contractor, built multi-million-dollar painting business, and now you're using all of your experience to help better your product.
Absolutely.
Like, even right now, you're just talking about it. I'm documenting the journey of building a painting business on YouTube, on all my socials.
Yep.
Content.
Love that.
Like the next thing.
It is. It's been. Now it really is.
Yeah, now it really is. But people want to see that, right? That rawness. And when you're doing these breakthroughs, right,
yep,
with these contractors, you can tell you know what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So now you're taking that perspective, that mindset, all that advice, and you're saying, okay, this is what these guys are struggling with.
Yeah.
Let me integrate that into the software so it can help them, right? And
yeah.
We've seen feature add-ons left and right that have been game changers. I'm sure there's more to come.
Oh, yeah.
But we run basically our entire business through you guys, which is awesome. And it's easy to teach as well. And I didn't know we were going to get into like just a DripJobs pour, but I love it because it gives me time to kind of tell you. But like even the training you guys provide,
yeah,
right? Like one of the things, if you join my coaching and you decide DripJobs is CRM, do the advanced training.
Yeah.
Get to learn the software, because the more you get out of that, the better your business will run.
Yeah, man, it's just giving back, right? Like, I think for us, you know, some companies charge for it. We don't charge for it. We'll teach you how to use it. You know, I understand this at a core level, that you won't survive in business without a CRM. You're done. You're out. You don't get to participate anymore, dude. Like, you don't have a chance, right? So we're pretty hard to get people over that hump, right? That's a big focus of ours, is like most of the users, most of the companies that cancel and they have nothing in their account.
Yeah.
It's sad, dude. It's like there's nothing in their account. They didn't try. They didn't even use it because it was different. It was scary.
They might have been overwhelmed.
And overwhelmed, right? Like, you know.
Not even by the software. I mean, in their own business.
In their own business. It's like, things are working. I don't want to change, or I don't want to pay. Like, I don't want to pay $147 a month. Everything's working just how it is. That's a different topic. But yeah, man, like for me, like bringing it back to like your question, where's that drive come from? It's like, I grew up with a father who struggled in business. I paid for it through, lack of resources, man. He didn't set it up the right way. He didn't build it the right way. He didn't have a book of business. He was a journeyman painter. He was word of mouth, and then when the recession hit, there was nothing to show for it. And even to this day, man, he deals with aches and pains, and there's so many business owners out there that will have nothing to show for it. And I think that if they at least have a CRM, there might be some value there.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So it's deep, man.
Yeah, dude, that's so funny because talking about the value and whatnot of what you're building. I just joined a BNI for our painting business because I really believe that the relationships are going to be a big part in helping us grow. And one of the guys there, he helps people sell businesses. He said, what happened with the Philly business? Did you close down? I said, yeah, I left it behind. I'm focusing on Florida. And he's like, what is it worth? We talked some numbers. He was like, could have sold it. I'm like, well, I had no idea, what I had at that time. And, I'm just so overwhelmed in the business going through it that there was value there. And I didn't know because I was so consumed. Right?
Yeah.
And then when I left, it made the switch. But people don't know what they have and that they're 80% of the way there. They
sure.
just need that 20%.
The value of something is whatever someone will pay for it, right? So, I like that you even admit that, because that's how most of us think. Is like, we don't think that we're building an asset that at some point someone else could say, I'll skip the step of having to build the brand. I'll skip the step of having to get 50 reviews on Google. Do you know how long it takes to get 50 Google reviews to get in the ballgame? So even if you have 50 Google reviews, there's value there. I'll skip the step of warming up a phone number or warming up a domain. I'll pay $100K for that. Let me skip the line, or else I'm gonna have to start this thing from scratch. So yeah, man, that's the reality of it.
How has it changed since you started in the painting business? What are you seeing, right? So guys that started back when you first started your painting business.
2016. Yeah, 2016, yeah.
Versus 2025. What is the difference between these two companies and what can they expect when they are starting?
Yeah, man, that's a good question. So I think like the big difference, I think, is awareness around the need for systems, right? 16, like lead generation was just starting. Home Advisor. Now you have marketing agencies generating leads for contractors. So a lot more marketing agencies, and it's going to continue. I mean, you know, unfortunately, most people prey on contractors because they should. I mean, if they were smart, they'd go after contractors. Not all of them are good, but you know, contractors naturally aren't business savvy and they make a lot of money. So it's a great customer group. However, that comes with failure on the contractor's part to understand their role in a marketing agreement, which is to sell the job. So like it's almost uncommon to hear of a painting contractor that doesn't have a marketing agency. That's different. Before, generate your own leads or use a lead aggregator. So this is different. This is different territory. And then you have, you know, they bounce from agency to agency. You know, it's almost like we've kind of created a crutch. It's like
a great call. I never spent a dime back in Philly.
We've created a crutch. Yeah. So, you know, I don't think anyone goes out and gets their own leads anymore, which I fully understand why. When I can just pay for it, saves you time. It's the easy button. You become very dependent on that. That's to me the biggest change, because I remember, you know, I would use Home Advisor, but I'd also rely heavily on my own resources. You know, BNI, you know, was one early on that I used, and networking and community involvement were big. But now at this stage in my business, I'm kind of following suit, man. It's Facebook leads, you know, getting a ton of them, and natural organic flow, word of mouth every now and again. So there's kind of like a mixture. But yeah, that's the big difference, man. I think, you know, but also on the positive side, community, man, like that wasn't in 2016, dude. I remember YouTube and how to estimate the exterior of a house, and I had no friends to ask, right? And I was nervous as heck, dude, because I really wanted the job and I didn't want to overprice. I remember that's why some people get on me for my group, so the Facebook group, right? You know, the big thing is like you always see questions of like, how much do I charge for this? And like people get angry about people asking that question. I'm like, dude, I remember what that was like, and they're asking because they really don't know. Number two, they're asking because they don't want to miss out on the opportunity. So for me, it's like, you know, I remember what that was like, and I remember thinking, dude, like if I outprice this, I might not get the job, but I need the job. So the community. Now, you just go in the Messenger, you got 10 of your best friends in the painting business, and be, hey guys, what do you guys think? You know, and one of the coolest parts have changed.
Yeah, and I think, you know, even for myself, I go into my realm, which is coaching at this point, and I look at it, okay, there's marketers popping up left and right. There are coaches that pop up as well, but when you have that relationship with the people that you're growing an audience with or putting yourself out there, so I get to be raw, real myself, and people can choose to work with me or not, right? And it's not like they necessarily need it, right? Or it's something that they have to get on board with in order to be successful, but it streamlines it. It helps in the process. Like you just said, you can go on a Facebook group and post something like that. You're going to get a ton of different answers, know which way to go. Or you could be in a private community with guys that have been there, done that, are well trained, and are willing to help you because they've been there. Understand.
No, they know the game, man. You want to ask somebody you trust, you know. So yeah, the community aspect's great.
I got a little fun topic for you. So I want to go down the Mount Rushmore of things you need in your painting, contracting business. So the way this works is we go through a top 4, but you can't say the same thing as me.
Got it.
So 1-1, I'll leave that to you. Basically means 1-1, like the unanimous #1 overall.
So I get the #1 overall pick for a painting business.
Painting, yeah.
So if you own a painting business, the #1 thing you need, like, you know, you're at the draft event and you gotta pick it. Oh man, I mean, it would be crazy for me not to say a CRM. That's where it all starts. That's where you build out your pricing. That's where you build out your customer list, especially one like DripJobs, because you got the communication built in. You can tie it into all your lead sources. So unequivocally, I'm gonna have to say a CRM if I can only pick one. Yeah, absolutely.
My one, I'm going to say painters.
Let's go one.
Just keep it raw, straight to the point. So you can get creative. You can say whatever you want. Right? You don't have to like stick to any specific system or anything like that.
Yeah, but I mean, if I'm starting out though, I want to be able to sell those jobs before I get the painters, right? Because a lot of people start jobs off and they don't have any money. You know, which is crazy.
I would have been CRM for 1-1 too.
Yeah, I'm just saying though. Like my thought is that's good, but you know, in some cases, like I'm a big fan of sell the job. If you're starting out, and you got low, sell the job. And then schedule it 3 weeks from now, and then find your.
Yeah, I love that. Was it back to me or back to you?
No, what do I get, number 2?
Yeah.
Number 2, man, if I had to go, so I got my CRM, would I get painters now? Or?
So painters, yeah, that's mine.
All right, so here's this painter.
3 more for you.
3 more for me. So, man, it's a good question. So, once again, I'm going to go the software route. You need production rates. You need pricing, man. Like you need a book of pricing. You got to know what you're doing, and I think that encapsulates what's your core offer, right? Like, are you going to do house painting, or are you just going to do cabinets? I think that's a big topic in and of itself, because I think they're 2 different businesses. Are you going to do commercial? So I would say within that software realm, you're going to need your production rate.
Some type of estimating.
You need your price sheet. You need your menu.
When I do my free, so Thursdays we do our free school calls, and one of the main things we talk about is pricing jobs.
Yeah.
Somebody will have somebody on the line, super small, just started out, and they're like, I don't even know where to go.
Yeah.
And I remember we did one recently. It was 2,100 square feet, and they wanted just trim only on the house.
Yep.
And they brought a subcontractor with them and looked at it together, kind of get an idea. And the subcontractor goes, yeah, I need 4,800 for it.
See, the thing about that is, the customer is so freaking confused, right? Like, and not to go, we'll go back to the Mount Rushmore, but I want to kind of hit on this. Is like, dude, if you go to a restaurant and you order a steak, you can go get a steak at Denny's. You can get a steak at, what's a good one in Orlando?
Outback?
Well, okay, Denny's is probably low tier, and then you got Outback, and then Maggiano's, right? Have you been to Maggiano's?
Yeah.
Good place, right? So, they have steak?
Yeah, they have steak.
It's an Italian restaurant, right? So if they had a steak, okay, so you would say that I know that I'm going to Denny's, so they can't really price me out of that element of I don't know. What's the most you pay for a steak at Denny's? 40? That's heavy, right?
Like 25.
Probably like 25. You're like, I'm not, okay, so 25. Then Outback, they are a steakhouse, so they can get away with how much?
Yeah, 35, 40.
35, 40. And then Maggiano's, they could get away with how much?
70.
They might even be able to go to 90. Yeah. They might be able to go real high. Dude, this steak could be from the same cow, right?
Sure.
So the thing is the perception of a buyer is we understand why those steaks are within those price ranges. You have your own bracket. We just know that we can expect that, right? So with house painting, people don't know what to expect because every business is different. Like we can take 10 restaurants and fit them in one of those 3 categories. But you take 10 painting companies, there's no categories to fit them in. Number one, because we're selling perception, right? We don't know what the building feels like. We're doing that because we know if we go into Denny's, the bathroom might look a little shoddy. Yeah. You just know because you're making those assumptions, right? But you go to Maggiano's, you have like a greeting person and they put the napkin on you. So the psychology behind the painting businesses is like all perception is perceived. So you say like somebody came in and said, the subcontractor went in there and he said 4,500. Well, like in the eyes of the customer, all they're looking at is a painter and they're looking at what needs to be painted. Yeah. And then they're making their own assumption based off of past experience, right? So how much did I pay to have something similar painted or what they can do? This is the crux, dude, of all painting business sales is the fact that the customer can actually pick up a paintbrush and do it themselves. So then you have those 2 things working against you. So when you come in with your price and and your customer looks at you crazy, it could be because of those 2 things. They have a previous experience or they think they can do it themselves. Yeah. So then they might value it at $2K and you might need to sell it at $4K to make some money. Mm-hmm. So how do you overcome that, right? So that's like the big problem that will never get solved. It'll just have to be chipped away at forever.
Yeah, and that's the importance of building an awesome brand, right? Because if you can check those boxes ahead of time and make your value more than you may, whatever the case may be. Sure. It's a higher value. Now you can start at a price point where, okay, I called the Maggiano's of painting. Okay, I knew I was going to be in this price range. I didn't hit up the Denny's, and I thought this guy was going to come in with a, broken down.
But look what you just said there, because you think the way you made it sounds like, okay, I called the big leagues. I'm going to settle somewhere in the middle. Mm-hmm. That was your first reaction. Is like, yeah, well, I called them. I used them to give me a high gauge of what I can expect if I went for the cream of the crop. Yeah. That's where we find ourselves, is that people use us as the bracket, right?
Interesting.
So how do you navigate that? Because you are the bracket, you're going to price it as high as you can. Why don't you just go with the middle guy who seems trustworthy, right? And you know what that comes down to is how much you value the project. That's the big difference. And if you don't find those pain points as to really what's important for that project and then highlight how you solve them better than anyone else, you'll just get bracketed like that. Yeah. So it's interesting, man. There's a lot of psychology involved in this game, for sure.
Where are we? Mount Rushmore. You got CRM, and you got
production rate estimating. Okay. You got painters,
and I got painters. I'm gonna go.
So right now, like, I have software. You have no software. You just got painters with no jobs.
We're getting there right now. We got probably could have been 1-1.
So we're running 2 different businesses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Painters and a website.
Okay. You got a website.
Yeah, we got websites.
Okay. All right. So I got to go with either a lead aggregator or a marketing agency. So I haven't painted anybody. I haven't painted anything. I don't have any painters, but now I have my CRM.
Yeah.
I've got my pricing, and now I'm getting leads. I still don't have painters, though. And I got one more slot.
We're just assuming you got painters. That's good. All right, cool. I got website, painters, and then I got, this is my third, right? Let's go. Damn, you took marketing from me. Let's go sweat equity.
Okay.
Right? Running the streets, outside sales, shaking hands, putting the name out there, being in every Facebook group possible.
Sure.
Right? Reaching out to local GCs.
Okay.
We're putting in the work.
Yeah.
All right? So now we got guys that can produce. We got the website, so we look the part, and now we're just spreading the word, calling out the town.
Yeah. Okay, I like that setup. It's good little. That's a good little setup.
We might be running with this, guys.
So I got one more thing, huh? So I got my CRM. We should have made painters a baseline because you wasted
All
me.
right, so
I'm going to take one away from you.
I should swap.
You should swap.
I get a freebie.
You get a freebie.
All right, what do I got? Website, and then I got sweat equity. Okay. Let's go with not a marketing lead agency, but a marketer, like, look the best. Graphic design, sales packet.
Sure.
Right?
Brand.
I show up,
Branding.
I'm branded up.
Yeah. Branding. Okay, cool. So maybe even a wrap, whatever. Okay. You look the part. Okay. Huh. That's good.
I went visual.
Yeah, I see that.
Website, brand.
Yeah. So I got the back end, right? Software. I got the pricing. I got the marketing agency. I think for me, man, it's a tough because I got one more thing to pick. We got paint and painters. We're gonna assume that. I might go with that van. I might go with that van.
Mercedes Sprint van.
No. Chevy 2500.
Oh god.
6K off of Facebook. 222,000 miles. I'm going cheap.
Does that fall in the line of painters though?
No, man, because if the painters roll up without in their own cars, you need that inventory. The thing is, in our business, that's our shop too, right? Like, you got to put your stuff somewhere, right? So I think at that point I'm buying the van. No, that's it. I got leads, I got painters, I got a van, I got pricing. I mean, I'm ready to go.
Be my last. What are some things that we can even put out there?
Yeah.
Social media.
Yeah. I think you need a coach, man.
A coach? Oh my goodness!
I'm surprised you missed that one.
We're gonna roll with the coach.
Yeah.
He's gonna put it all together. He's gonna give us all the systems so as we go.
Accountability.
We can be there the entire time and make sure we're all good. Damn! How do I miss my?
Yeah, it's all right. It's like when
I'm a humble guy.
It's like when you work in a restaurant, you don't cook when you get home. It's like it's your thing, right? Awesome, man. Yeah, no, I like that. I don't know. I think you might beat me.
Yeah, I'm taking.
You got the coaching. I might tap out.
Alrighty. Anything else you want to touch on? Put out there to the world, man?
Yeah, man.
What's new coming up?
So we have a really cool app coming out. It's called Routimize. So my vision for it is it's going to change the way bookings happen for home service professionals.
Okay.
So what's cool about this is I patented the technology way early on, right? So as far as I know, I'm the only one that can build this because I just knew. So think of it like this: your customer has a link. They go and they put in their preferences, right? So they're going to say, hey, I want Tuesday or Friday, and then what'll happen is they put in their address, and then what it does is actually going to use AI. It's going to gather all the information. That information is going to be where you're going to be that day, how many appointments you have on the entire schedule, and it's going to identify what existing appointment you have that's as close to the new appointment that's coming in. And what will happen is the customer is going to be presented with that option to select, which is favorable for the business. So for example, if you have 10 appointments and you have a new appointment request coming in, it's going to read the 10 appointments. It's going to identify the distance between that one appointment and each appointment that's already on your schedule. And it's going to tell the customer which one to pick with the assumption that's going to make it to where, your drive time gets
right. It lets the client pick.
Let's client pick.
So it's not you, it's actually them.
It's them choosing
the time.
It's
almost like an optimized Calendly.
Exactly. It's the reason you can't use Calendly right now.
I would use Calendly if
you would use Calendly. Exactly.
They could do.
And they don't have it. And I patented
and they can't take it.
So
wow.
So yeah, dude, because you know, this is a big problem, right?
Yeah,
like, you know, ultimately, even in my business, we're serving 3 counties. So it's such a manual process because we got to make sure that we're not sending our estimator all over town, right? See, this is one of the benefits of me owning a business is because I live these problems. Like, so it just made sense. So it was actually such a big deal. We're already 8 months into development. I mean, we're pretty close. Like, I'm testing it out now. Like, it's pretty close. Obviously, nothing that we can release right now, but you know, the concept works. I think it's going to be the next unicorn in the software space.
And that's not
in the home service space.
Painting specific.
No.
Right? You're talking any home service, any delivery, any
pet groomers, dude. I mean, pet groomers, home insurance, home health care, anything. Obviously,
body, whatever.
We're gonna obviously start with home service because that's our specialty. But like, think about it this way: like, let's say you have 2 salespeople. That's when the system breaks that exists right now. Is if you have 2 salespeople and you're trying to organize their schedule and their drive times and making sure that you're distributing them equally, but also keeping them within a certain radius. That's near impossible to do. Yeah, man. That's what's upcoming.
Dude, that's so funny because Joel, our co-host in Paint Your Path, he posted a screenshot of his route the other day. I guess he was filling in for sales, and it was like boom, 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 like all over the place.
Yeah.
And he was like, "This is going to be a fun one."
Yeah,
that would have been a perfect.
It would have been perfect. And here's one. There's many features, but there's this really cool. So first of all, I trademarked the name Routimize. Okay, so it's actually a verb. So we can actually re-routimize your schedule. So in other words, like you open up the whole day, you hit the button, and if someone cancels, it'll recalculate the Exactly. Wow. So you're not doing that math for yourself. If you have, let's say, for example, you have 2 appointments, one's at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and you have another one at 3 and 4, we have a whole gap during that day. So what's cool is you can actually click to fill the gap, and it will look at your future schedule to see if there's any appointments that are in the future that you can put in the gap to fill your day. So yeah, we're really working on bringing that.
What about the admin aspect of that, right?
Yeah.
That eliminates a big chunk of them on the phone fumbling. Oh, let me check. Oh, 1 second.
Dude, admins are going to love it. They're just going to be able to take the information and say, hey, this is what we have based on your ad.
Focus more on the experience.
It's the experience. But think about it this way from the consumer side. You know, a lot of what I build in software, like the unique part about DripJobs, and people don't really understand this because they don't really have to, but I care about it, is we're not just building a software for you. We're building a software for your customers. They interact with DripJobs too. There's not many softwares you have as a business where your customers actually interact with it. So when we're building, we're thinking about what their experience is like because that reflects on you. The follow-ups, the drips, making sure all the messages come out. Like,
Which is already awesome.
Dude, we're sending almost 1 million emails a month in DripJobs. It's insane. Like that many people get communication. So with Routimize, think of it like this, man. You do an estimate. Nobody wants a range, right? Time is more valuable now than it's ever been. What if you can give an exact time on when you're going to be there? What if when you leave an appointment, you mark that you're on the way and Routimize, not only that, Routimize can pinpoint your address and tell you exactly what time you'll be there and then send that notification to the customer. So these things are important. But really, like, you might think, like, this is super far out from, you know, from home service. It's like, what it really comes down to is building value. Yeah. That's the core of what I try to do, right? Like, is build value. So, like, that's going to build value in the eyes of your customer. That's going to separate you, right? So it's all, to me, it's all about, like, how can you create the perception that you're worth paying more? That's my mission. That's my vision, to get out to the world, because perception is everything.
Yeah, and that's something that, you know, you separate yourself immediately from other companies.
Instantly.
Right? Like
yeah, the booking, dude, you go from a booking process to that to, hey, can you send me an email and a text, you know, your address and a text message, right? We got Maggiano's and we got Denny's, right? We want people to be okay with paying $90 for the steak. That's the key. That
is the key, man, because it's also going to help so many other aspects of your business, right? Like now that you're able to charge that premium, you know, rate or price because you give so much more value. Now it helps everything else in your business. Helps you hit your margins, helps you pay your guys, helps you afford.
Pricing is everything. Yeah.
Which in painting,
dude, there's a lot of broke business owners.
Oh my gosh.
It's actually alarming that people can charge so much for work and not have anything to show for it. And it's simply because of just the amount of money you sell a job for. If you're not excited with the amount you sold a job for, you didn't charge enough.
Or if you didn't get a reaction. Right.
Yeah.
What about AI? Because this is
right. Yeah, it's AI.
This is AI.
Absolutely.
So what would you say is, you know, a huge game changer that people can take advantage of right now in AI, or what software has helped you?
Sure.
What are some game you can give because you're in it right?
In it. Oh man. You should be using AI for every idea you have about how to build your business. Like, I think that, like, you know, for me, everything goes through AI. I'll take applicants. I probably get 60 applicants a month that want to paint, and I throw every one of their applications into AI. And I say, analyze all these applicants for me. And then these are the things that I care about. So AI just amplifies what you should be doing and you're not doing. And so, for example, like, I would have had to read each one of those. And then imagine, but I would never do that. I'm not going to read 60 applications. I might cherry pick. Now you don't miss a beat.
For sure.
So for me, like, hiring, man, like, use AI for hiring. We have a scoring system for applicants that come in. So we send their application to AI automatically. It generates a score based off of indicators that I deem important. So that just flags to us like, hey, this is somebody that matches what we're looking for. So you can do it for that. Here's an easy one. This is an easy one. This is surprising to me how many people don't do this. If you sell any sort of painting, whether it's a cabinet refinishing job or it's a house painting, dude, you should be taking a picture of that house and you should be asking the customer what color they're thinking. And then you go, change the color of the walls to this, change the soffit to black. So while you're walking around, you come back and you can create a magical experience. Yep. Magical experiences actually, you know, you get, you know, what's the guy, Disney? Disney. What's his name? Walt? He's the guy. How much money they got? Because they create magic, right? All it is a theme park with people running around in cartoon costumes, right? But they create magic, and it creates the perception that you're worth paying more. And you go to a customer and say, hey, look what I did for you. And you're still in a stage right now. Timing is everything. You got to be a fast mover. You can't sit there and delay. Some people still never have seen what ChatGPT can do to an image. Yeah. So you still have the ability to create the wow factor. That's why I'm moving so fast, because the wow factor is going to fade out soon. You know, imagine what the wow factor was like when someone had the first iPhone, dude. I bet if we were in that time period and you had the iPhone and I didn't, can you imagine that chances are we would spend some time talking about your new phone? I'd be like, Aiden, dude, what? You got the iPhone? Right? Did I say anything about your phone today? Nothing, right? Nothing, because the wow factor's gone. So you got to know when to strike. And I think if you want an edge, you should be doing that for everyone. If you're too lazy to do that, then you won't make it in business anyway.
Dude, I literally pay for my admins, my VAs to learn these things.
I love it.
Right? So it's like, if I find a school community, if I see a video or something that can help what we're doing, make it more efficient, whatever it is, video editing, I don't care. I'm going to have them learn it and come back and say, here are all the things we can use and help elevate.
I love it. You got to stay ahead of the game. Like, these are your competitive. You only have so many competitive edges, so you got to find them. You got to be a student of them. So yeah, man,
I use ChatGPT probably every day.
You have to.
Probably every day, and I encourage my team to do so as well. Like, you would be surprised.
So you're big on taking notes. That's one thing that when we spent time together, you're good. Like, I think that's one of your superpowers. Like, if I were you, you might do this already, but take your random notes throughout the day and then select all, send that to ChatGPT and be like, hey, organize these notes for me, and then create action items around them. Like, expand on these notes. Like, that's the superpower, because you would have done that anyway without ChatGPT. You would have read those notes and say, oh, I got to do that, I got to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Easier.
It does. Yeah.
Well, my man, appreciate you.
Yeah, bro. Appreciate the convo.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, guys.
Paint Your Path Podcast, Tanner Mullen, DripJobs. Check out what they got going on, and where can they find you, bro?
DripJobs.com. Start a free trial. Join Aiden's coaching program. He gets a special deal for his clients. Instagram, official Tanner Mullen. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you guys. To the next one.